Let's do it.
Okay. Now, first, I'd like to say thanks to SBE Chapter 17 for nominating me for Engineer of the Year. That was back in 2018, and that kind of started this chain reaction where I wound up with the Lifetime Achievement Award from the SBE. So things really ramped up there. But relax, I'm not here to sell anything today. I'm here to offer some instruction. And it all started at the summer picnic in 2019, where I volunteered. Now, isn't that a dumb word? To take over the website. And I'll tell you that I've got paper here. I wrote this all down so I don't forget anything. Don't ever get old. You start to forget things, so you have to write them down. So going back to the beginning here, I recently learned that SBE 17 was going to lose its free web server space at Suburban Cable Commission because they were planning on moving to a cloud-based website, and it didn't work out for us to tag along. And by the way, they have. So that spurred me into writing on a self-hosted site, but it costs $144 a year, which the chapter is paying for. So my question to you is, speak up. How many of you have written for the web, a website? And don't answer yet before I qualify that by saying Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram don't count. So how many have done this before? One. Okay, that makes you the volunteer. If I kick the bucket, you're it.
Bring it on.
Okay, so let's go back to some of the basics about what this whole thing is all about. You've heard of the domain name registry. They're the ones who have our name, and we pay them so that we can use that name. It was register.com at $49 a year, as I recall. I transferred it over to pairdomains.com at $13 a year when paid for with 5 years. So we've got a long time before we have any renewal. That was a learning experience right there. And I was a retired guy. I figured I didn't need to learn anything, but I did. So chapter secretary Joe Conlon has all the username and passwords in case I die or pass it along to someone else. So I need screen share. Would you do that for me, Taylor? Okay. Is there here it is, screen share. Great.
It has the ability for multiple people to do that simultaneously.
Oh, super. Okay. Well, here's, you should see what we used to have. Okay, this is the website. Wait a minute, I'm going to go to my notes here. Okay. What you're seeing on the screen, if you're seeing the old website, it's the original HTML written with a WYSIWYG editor. It's what you see is what you get. It's Microsoft Expression Web. It used to cost $200. Now it's free because it's no longer supported. And I did this website for a year and a half until just recently. Now, most people think of a website as like writing graphics. It's like a page in Word or something like that with photos and words. But guess what? It's really HTML. What's that? Hypertext Markup Language. That is a set of instructions telling browsers how to display information. Let me tell you this, let me say that again. It's a set of instructions telling browsers how to display information. So let's find out what's really going on here. I'm going to show you, if I can get my mouse over there, I'm going to split the screen. You see what people see on the web, but what's above are the instructions, of which there are a lot of them, making all of this simple website go. Can you imagine that? Now, I only know enough in my case to make some changes there, but I let the editor do all the hard work. Now, I should tell you that this banner in the upper left, very nicely done by Bill Dahlstrom, but it was kind of short. I needed more width to fill out the screen like on, a smartphone. So I went to a local transmitter site, and gosh, you recognize that as a BE transmitter's output meter. So that made it a little longer. So that helped. And let's see, what else do we have here? Every website should have a mission statement. We are a group of radio and television engineers exchanging ideas. Great. So what do we do to make a change? Let's make a change. Here it says, you're welcome to attend meetings, and I'm going to add that in person or on Zoom, period. And I will save that, but that's three O's, not two. Got it. Okay, fix it, save it. Now, is it on the web? No, it's on my computer. What do I do to put it on the web? I use and I'm going to share screen again. Okay, share screen, share new, and it's going to be this one. Share. Okay, you're seeing an FTP, file transfer protocol, and I've done it for our Lake Association, I think, because the one for SBE 17 no longer works. Their server went away. So what do we have? We have two lists of items. We have what's on my machine on the left and what's on the server up in the cloud. And in order to take the information that I have on my machine and put it up in the cloud, I mark the information and push the right arrow, and that information then gets transferred. And then people on the web can see the new information. Okay, so let's move on to something else here. I will tell you that going from the original HTML site, you're looking at the new one, aren't you? Is that right? You're looking at the new, let's see.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, good. I liken going from HTML1, which was the original site, to HTML5. It's like going from a tube transmitter to a solid state transmitter. So what have we done with this new site? I got the chance to put in a full-size banner, so it shows all the way left to right. And what else do we have? We got the mission statement, and there's also a call to action. It says, join our group. You'll also notice that there's a small slideshow going on there with photos that I've captured in my visits to Minneapolis and thereabouts. Oh, and here's one actually from one of the sessions we had recently. But look to the right. There are no strangers here, only engineers you haven't met. Now, isn't that a great way to bring people into the organization? The whole idea is to make this just a fun organization that people want to belong to. And it says here, think positive, test negative, engineer spoken here. And there are other things. There's our meeting notice on there. There is news stories, and I got to be a little careful when I put up a news story because I don't want to compromise anyone's personal information. So I can't do it, but I can do it here. It's a Caring Bridge thing. Everybody gets to know about that. And then Mike Dorschner, well, that was a funeral. That's public information. Below that, job openings and education. And then at the bottom, there is the disclaimer. Now look at that. I'm no artist, but I know what makes the best picture. Can you imagine that? Anyway, it says that the website is as is without warranty. So let's go back to now here's something else I got to show you here. Did you notice that the menu stays at the top, and I can explain that better. Let's go back to the home page. As I scroll down, look at that, the menu stays right at the top. You don't find that on many websites, but I happen to find that was a possibility on this one, which is Weebly.com. And where do we go from there? Okay. Any guesses on what a professional web writer would charge to do this site? My best guess is it would be over $1,000. And that professional web writer would charge money every time you want to make a change. And of course, wouldn't know the words that we use, engineering words. And so it's best that these things always be done from the inside. Now, what do we also have? We have SSL, Secure Socket Layer. It's the upper left on the URL bar. It's a lock. Basically, it says this is a safe website, and some browsers with high security wouldn't see our site before. Now they will because it's SSL. Now let's see what else. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me show you how I actually write this. I'm going to go over to my editor, and I'm going to change to screen 2. Got it. Well, now you see the same website, but you see, I'm hoping you're seeing a menu of pages on the left. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, there they are. It says home, about, studios. So these are the pages with the exception of search, which happens to be a tool that's in here, and in disclaimer and all that kind of stuff. So it's the website you just saw. And then I'm going to go to build it. And now I've got all the tools I want to add and subtract stuff. So here's my plan for today. I thought I would personalize it by grabbing an image and putting it in here where it's our meeting notice. And I'm going to pull up an actual photo. And I think I got to do that from here. Here's Taylor's image. And I will drag this over here like that. So there he is. Oops, there's Taylor. And he's telling us that we've got a meeting today. So that's the change. So then I publish it. Okay. So now it's on the web. So let me go back to sharing screen 1 and look at the website, but you don't see it there. He's not there. Why is that? Because what your computer is showing is it's just displaying what's already been told to display. But if I hit a refresh, there's Taylor. It's that simple to make this stuff work today. I'm so pleased because it was far more complicated before. Okay, so what else is on the website? Oh, I mentioned about job openings and all of that kind of stuff. Let me go back to the writing part of this whole thing. And I'll go to screen 2. And I'm going to show you some more details. You're seeing the web, the editor now with the tools on the left. Is that correct? Is that correct?
You can still see it.
Okay. All right. So the tools on the left. If I go to pages and I go home, then I see SEO settings. And it's Society Broadcast Engineers, Chapter 17, Broadcast Engineers, Twin Cities, SBE. Now, you're aware that when you do a Google search, the Google search engines look for this information. So last night, even for as new as this site is, I did a search with two words, SBE chapters. I didn't say Minnesota. I didn't say anything. This one came up number 6 on the list. The first 2 were 2 pages from National SBE. Another one was another organization who uses SBE, but has nothing to do with broadcast. And then there were a couple of well-established SBE chapter sites. And then we were number 6. So that was kind of cool that we've already reached that level. Now, let me look at what this looks like on a smartphone. I can look at the mobile view. So it looks different, but the information is still there. Society of Broadcast Engineers, the slideshow still is there. Engineers, there's Taylor, there's the rest of the page. And the menu is the hamburger menu. Remember, you're seeing that on your smartphones all the time. You would not have seen that on the old website. You would only have seen the long, thin menu, which really was difficult to work with. So I can hit About, and I can learn more about us, but let's go look on the desktop view. And this is the About. This was us from the summer party. And that's where this whole thing started, as I mentioned. And on the About page, there's another slideshow. More things that are what we are. Oh, and there's a handsome guy right there. Anybody know him? Okay. Oh, there's a 3-tower array in Brainerd, KLIZ radio. And this is AM occupied bandwidth on a spectrum analyzer. And here was a meeting, actually it was national meeting, and I might tell you about that later. But further down the page, I've got a listing of officers and their photos and the bios for not all of them, but many of them. I'd love to see bios from everybody because gosh, that makes this site, much more fun to be with. Let's see. So we have today's meeting. And if I look under stories, I only see 2020 and 2019. Well, this happens to be 2021, but I have started earlier by creating a page for 2021. Oh, let me show you what the stories are like. Let's take a 2019 stories thing. If I start at the bottom, that's where we did the picnic and a bunch of photos in a group there. Then it went on to the, this is the, the self-driving cars. And there were more sessions that we went to, lots of fun. There's some photos of ones I didn't attend. And then we wound up with the holiday meeting. And that was the end photo. It's the banner photo. It was us at the brewery there. But I also put in there that no SBE funds were used to pay for alcohol. We got to be careful. I don't want to say the wrong things. So let's make a story about today's presentation. So what I did is, so I go back to pages, I built one for 2021, and you'll see in the left corner, I hide in navigation. So nobody can see it until I let it happen. Okay, here we are. By the way, those towers, anyone know where those towers are?
Duluth?
You got it. That's Duluth. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I started it with some text. Chapter member Mark Persons, SBE, CPBE, gave a talk on how to do this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that, not the date, but the rest of it in bold, because I like that, because the date's small, but the rest of it is important. Well, let me then build something on here. Let me put a gallery in here where I can put some images. And if I put all of my images in there, that they'd really make the page long unless they're in a gallery. So I'm going to go to 2021. I'm going to put all of this in there. Something's missing. Well, okay, let's go with that because I've got my script, which I'm going to also add. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to organize them a little bit. I'm going to move me up here, and I'm going to, yeah, I think I'll leave it like that. There's some reasons why I want 7, because then it stays as a gallery. But then I was going to add a file down here, and I was going to put in my talk from today. And for some reason, oh, here it is. There it is, the PDF. So anyone want to see my notes from today can go here and get all of that information. Now, is it on the web yet? No, I can publish it. All right. And now I'm going to share screen again over to number 1, share. And we've got the original website. Under stories, it still shows 20. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go back to the other one. I've got to share that one page. Darn it. Let's not hide it. Let's publish it. And I'll do a refresh. And gosh, there's 2021 stories. So it's now on the web. And there's the story about how it all happened. And it's that easy to do. But the good thing is you're telling others in the world all the wonderful things that are happening with this organization. And it's like broadcasting. And now I should also tell you that when I create a website, I usually start with a piece of paper, and in pencil, I kind of mark things down the way I think they should go. And then I take that handwritten paper and I make it happen in the editor. And I'll say that again, the editor has no software on my machine. I have source material like the images, like the PDF I put on there, but I don't actually have the actual website on my computer. I'm trusting them to keep it. But also, let me make sure I know. Are you still looking at Duluth on the site there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good, because I'm not getting that kind of feedback on this end here. Okay, so we got that. Where were we? I should tell you that websites create a situation where the webmaster needs to make frequent updates. And if you don't make updates, things get out of date. And you know very well that when you go to a website and there's old information, what do? You go the other way. It's a lousy way to do business. So you've got to keep it current or it's a black eye. And if you want to know how to do this, I will offer free instruction, but I won't hire out. I'm a retired guy. I'll be glad to help you understand these things. And in fact, SBE Signal accepted an article from me about web writing and the reasons for it. And they're thinking they're going to publish it in March, space available. So it could be April, who knows when. But the whole idea is that websites should do something good for the organization. They should tell the story. And some of them are out of date, and it's not good for the SBE. I will tell you that it's a fun thing to be a webmaster, and you too can be a webmaster. That's my call to action, wise guys. Do you have questions? I'll be glad to answer them. I'll stop the share. Silence. No one's that good a speaker. So
What's
Mark,
really-
Mark Berg, what are you thinking? Is this going to work for you?
I believe so. I'm still trying to get a hold of a few folks because it seems like everybody's hiding under COVID bush right now.
Okay.
We've got a question in the chat. What's the product called? The web editor.
Okay. Well, I was using the original one was the Microsoft Expression Web. It's HTML1. This one is Weebly, WEEBLY.com. And you can create a website before you pay your money. You get in there, write it, and then when you want to put it on the web, that's when you pay your $144. Actually, they've got a more or less free way of doing it. They put their advertising on your site, which I don't feel is a good thing for any organization. So pay the $144 and you've got it.
Of all the services out there, what drew you to Weebly as opposed to something else?
Well, it was recommended by a friend, and I've looked at Wix.com, which is actually a better one. It's got more capabilities, but it has a steeper learning curve. And what I looked for is when I give up this website, someone needs to slide into it easily and make it run. And if it's difficult, that could be a real problem.
Let's try another long range question. What do you think the next thing is to do with the website? If there's another next big thing or next angle or topic area.
I don't know. I go out and I peruse the web. And before I even wrote the first one for this chapter, I went out and looked at all the SBE sites I could find, and I stole ideas from them. Of course, that's the that's the thing to do. Not that I'm stealing their stuff. I got ideas on what to do. So I'm creating the history file. What's better is maybe a video for those who couldn't attend.
And we are recording today, by the way.
Oh, great. Well, we'll want to work out where it's stored, and then I'll put a link on, and then others can find out that we're just having a lot of fun.
Members, any other? We can stream from Zoom straight to YouTube. Our friends at SCC TV point out.
All I need is a link.
And Pioneer.
Okay. All I need is a link, and we'll put it on the site. So the site can be a go-to spot. I mean, if people wonder, oh, what's happening? When is the next meeting? Or what happened at the last meeting? Or what happened a year ago at the last meeting? I can learn more at the website.
Quick question here. If you do the streaming to YouTube, are you able to remove it if you find that you made a mistake either in either writing items or you misspoke on an item, as the case may be?
Absolutely. You can remove it. You can just make it not public so nobody can see it. They have a very crude editor. You can go in and trim the beginning and the end. And I believe you can now make some clips and like take out a middle part if there's something you need to take out where you want to leave the rest of it without having to dump it into something like Premiere or Final Cut.
Yeah, I emphasize the word crude to what YouTube does. Pioneer does that with your legislators, and you can sort of highlight or segment to make individual chapters, but yeah, it's definitely no Adobe product.
Well, I
No,
definitely
it's best
like
for trimming at the beginning and the end.
Well, I definitely like the trimming, especially the beginning and the end. Just otherwise, you wind up with someone there who gets bored and 20 seconds and says, I'm out of here. And that's before the important stuff has started.
I think you might have mentioned it earlier, Mark, but is there the process to borrow a term from Facebook? Or I'm sorry, forgot the but can you like sandbox what you're doing before you can actually transfer to the final out or publish it as you do here?
Yes. In fact, I did that by creating the 2021 page. So until I was ready to let it go and publish it, that was it could sit there for a year before I published it if I chose to.
Okay, and then in the case of it after you publish it, you think, oh gosh, I want to do this. You can take it back down, re-edit it, and then republish it again, correct?
Yeah, actually, it stays in the cloud, and I could just add a few words. I could go to any of the pages, add a couple words, hit the word publish, and boom, away you go. Or correct spellings in my case, misspellings that in my case.
All right, thanks.
Now, the nice thing about the web is that it's not printed material. Once it's printed, you can't make changes. Here, I could make changes 25 times a day.
Members, any other questions at this point?
Let's see, did I cover the subject? Yeah, I guess I did. Well, it goes to show you that it's so easy to do. It doesn't take an hour.
I think the real hard work that you might actually have to deal with is initially setting it up. Once you have it set up, then updating and adding other items just sort of like you say is just a few moments of your time. And if you have your materials available, it goes that much faster.
Okay, I tell you what, I will share the screen again to first screen. Okay, so here's that Duluth thing again. What else is on the website? We've got the stories. We have membership. Okay, this photo. Do you see the two people in the photo equipment rack?
Yep, they're there.
Okay, good. Okay, so that was from the top of the IDS building too, but here it tells about joining the SBE, the technical training program, the mentor program, which I'm involved with, Members Plus, certified, and then going down the list, here's Hal, who is an amateur radio operator. He's the ham chapter of the air person. So that information is there for you too. Awards, there are, there was me, well, most recently, here's Hal Chardon and his family, the awards. This was my 2018 thing. Gosh, here's Steve Brown getting his award from the chapter, but I don't have a lot of words to go with this. Mike Hendrickson, and boy, I could sure use a better photo of Don Heppelman. If someone could get me that, and maybe some words to go with it too. That might be nice. Links. You recognize this bridge. It's in Minneapolis. And every site needs links. And of course, one of the links is SBE National. But let me go back to where I was. And then contact information. Oh, you'll love this. I got this at a local radio station. Gosh, you guys would know all about this stuff. It's right up your alley. And so anyone who wants to learn, has a question, bang. And we had a question, first couple days, the site was up and answered it properly. It's about a member who wanted to move from, I believe, Chicago to Minneapolis. I remember that. I don't remember the name. But again, those menus stay at the top, which is so handy. So, and the site, well, didn't cost anything to write. It's volunteer effort. And so any or all of you could do this, just a small learning curve, no big deal. And I delight in it. It's like broadcasting.
Now, the program you're using, Mark, that's called Weebly.
Weebly. It's not a program. It's you go to weebly.com and sign up. And then you could create a website right on there, and you do it through a browser. You don't have any software in your machine, just a browser. And then when you're ready, you pay them to put it to the web.
All right, thanks.
Okay, oh, I'll stop sharing. There we go. So again, was there just one of us who've done web things before? Not more than one? Could be your next career. First, you have to retire. No. But seriously, I started writing for the web with my own business 25 years ago. And the reason why I did it was because I was too cheap to pay someone else to do this. So I learned a little bit about HTML and wrote my own. And my mwpersons.com site is still in HTML1, but I'm a retired guy. I don't really have anything important to show the world, but it's there anyway, outside of my used equipment, which I'm still trying to get rid of used equipment from my used equipment inventory. So if any
It's
of
a
you
historic website.
mwpersons.com. What's that?
It's a historic website.
Oh, historic.
in HTML1.
That's okay. It's historic. Yeah. Okay. It's grandfathered. I see. Okay. Historic. Wise guy. So here's your chance to do the same thing.
One question in the chat is the Weebly an annual fee or multi-year?
Annual $144. I think you can buy it by the month. I didn't consider that. I mean, it's the right thing. And the others like Wix, it's like twice the price, but it's more capable and requires a lot more thinking, which I seem to have less of nowadays.
Well, and also you'd have to consider how complicated or how sophisticated you want the website to be.
Yeah, and for its purpose today, this is better than I want to say this selfishly. It's better than most of the SBE chapter sites out there now, mostly because the others were written the old way, and this is the new way.
Certainly better than the previous website or previous iteration that we had.
Yeah. There's WordPress too. Now there's a learning curve for you. I haven't been able to bring myself to even think about learning that one.
Yeah, that one is clunky.
So from my understanding, Weebly is actually also our web server site as well, correct?
That is correct. So you get a server, a secure server, and the web hosting tools to make it go. And they do have a backup plan. So once a month I get a backup, which I put on my hard drive. So in case their server or servers should crash, I could give it back to them and say, put it back up.
Now, do they give you any reports of any security concerns or any attacks or anything like that?
No, I haven't seen that, although they do tell me that we're getting about 35 unique hits per month. And now this is all brand new site. So it means that if I go to the site 3 times in a week, did I say 35 per month? 35 per week. So if I go there three times in a week, I'm counted once. So there's 34 other people there perusing the site. They're sticking their nose in the door to look around and see what kind of organization is this? And of course, the number goes up and down. It went down a little last month and came back up.
Mark, how would you link this to the SBE website where I believe you're able to set your own homepage up on?
Oh, SBE National has links to, here, let me do that. Let's see, share screen. Number 1, share that. By the way, there's a logo on here that says SBE. Well, there we are. We're at the SBE site, and it came up in a new tab on the page, okay? Because you don't want to go away and not come back. And then on here, we look under chapters, and then you have find a chapter. I repeat, and then we can browse by state or browse by number. And then I can go down to Minnesota. Here we are, sbe17.org, and they've opened us in a new window there too. Or
Now,
you can,
how did that information get there? Do you have to go to the SBE and be a registered webmaster in order to open up or set up your own webpage like that?
no, you just tell them. And in fact, don't I remember that when we had election of officers, they collected that information? Didn't they want to know who the webmaster was and what the web page was? It's simple enough. And you don't have to be an official webmaster because, gosh, I'm a retired guy. I can't even be a webmaster, can I? But if you're a woman, you could be you get the idea. So
You were a great grandfather then.
is that it? So no, it's easy. They want the information. All you have to do is give it to them.
Any other questions at this juncture?
Oh, email just came in from Taylor and from someone wondering if I should put up Craig Baumgar's information. Well, if his family wants to release it.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I want to thank you, Mark, for taking the time and effort to build the site. It's a vast improvement over what it was.
Well, it's kind of you to say. And I do this with the hope that others will catch on and do well for their chapters so the SBE looks good.
I noticed with the with radio stations, they usually have a template that they use for all their stations. If you start looking at it close enough, you can tell from market to market for whoever the corporation is. It's the same layout. It's just different names, information, pictures. I don't know if something like this would ever be for the SBE National, if they want to use this for a template or not.
Actually, I've had a conversation with Chris Scherer at SBE National, and he thought that was a good idea, and they likely will come up with something like what I have and recommend it to the chapters for those who are, less capable. I will tell you, I've seen that happen with other organizations. One of them is the Veterans of Foreign Wars, which I am also a member of, and they create these the templates, like you say, and they put them out to the posts. They're called posts, not chapters, and they don't always get cleaned up. They don't bring them up to speed on everything that's there. It's kind of generic stuff, and it needs personalization, and they don't always do it, which is a black mark for the organization. But yes, that can be done. And I understand that National SBE may just do that. So maybe a year from now, we'll move over to what National SBE is recommending. But meanwhile, they're liking what I'm doing.
Well, I will say it is very impressive looking and very well laid out. You did the necessary planning ahead before you cracked open the code and started working on it.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's kind of you. But if you look at it from the beginning, when it first went up, the beginning was a shadow of what it is today. And I seem to like to put something new in maybe every day, just a little tweak here, or add something, subtract something. It's just a fun thing for me to do as a hobby.
Well, it's not costing you anything except for time.
That's just my time, and I'm free.
I think the best analogy you can use on any juncture where you're starting out with a new project or a new item that you're doing is, think of the first time you ever used a soldering iron and compare that to how well you can solder now.
By the way, if you do edit this video, you might want to take some of those embarrassing pauses out, Taylor. Oh,
Well, if there aren't any other questions, definitely we have to thank you, Mark, for your time.
oh, you're welcome.
I would agree with that. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, kind of you to say. And you can contribute material too. Images and more for the About section with bios and photos. Thank you.
Mark, I want to say thanks on this. I know you and I chatted last week for a little bit on this, but actually seeing you do what you did here actually helps brand it into the brain cells a little better.
Okay.
I'd have to agree.
I look at this as like engineering a radio station, only I happen to do it at my desk where it's nice and warm. And it's not the middle of winter in the dark.
I did come in a little late, so Taylor, is there anything lined up for next month? I missed the announcement if you do have something.
I didn't make the announcement yet, but I'm pretty close. I have a pretty good idea of what that's going to be.
Well, I'll be posting it on the website as soon as you've made the announcement, Taylor.
Right.
Taylor, if you wouldn't mind letting your secretary know, I would not mind being included on your email list or your contact list for your meetings.
Well, we're glad to have you aboard. That's an easy thing we can add you to the listserv on.
Crowds are probably going to get bigger because we're going.
Yeah, I can add you. I just need to, if someone can email me his info.
We're now learning more. I mean, this study that came out of Israel to start with here about 10 days ago, I was talking
Somebody's
to it.
in their program.
Super exciting. We're actually seeing what they saw in.
That was interesting. Anyway, well, with that, unless anybody has anything else to cover at this juncture, I think we can bring things to a close. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, all right. Yeah, someone was just saying they're looking forward to the recording and looking forward to seeing that and thanking for setting it up. So, thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you, Mark. And Taylor.
Okay. Well, talk to you next month.
All right.